Welcome to the second episode of Comfortable Shoes for Uncomfortable Dudes. I'm Big Joe. Today's topic is, if it doesn't fit, you must acquit. Big men, when did we become comfortable with wearing uncomfortable shoes? Where did it all start? Maybe your story's similar to mine. And in that case, well, for me, I grew up poor. My mom, myself, and two other sisters. She did the best she could to provide for us. On top of not having, a lot of money to spend on things like shoes, I was a big kid growing up pretty fast, and I grew out of my clothes really quickly it wouldn't have been wise to invest money that she didn't have in a sneaker game, which really hadn't developed back then in the, say, late 70s, early 80s. So a lot of my shoes were purchased at the local grocery store. That's right, the grocery store. And when I say at the grocery store, I'm not talking about, we didn't have Walmart then. I'm talking about where you went to get actual food to eat for your family. My shoes would be right there next to the squash. Maybe that's why I don't like squash. Anyway, so the thing with those shoes back then in the late 70s, early 80s, man, they were just fabric glued to some type of hard plastic or rubber, and they were basically unbearable. And I grew up with always hearing, they'll get better once you break them in. Yeah, right. They never broke in. They rarely ever would break down. They were like invulnerable or something. It's like they had an unbreakable spirit. Tasha Cobbs, where was your song then? Anyway, no, seriously. So that is one way I know for certain that I started being comfortable with uncomfortable shoes growing up. Well, that all changed for me probably in the 8th grade, because I think that was the first time that I actually had a new pair of name brand shoes that was new. Completely new, meaning come in a shoe box. They hadn't been worn by somebody else. So when mom couldn't buy me shoes, I had neighbors who had older sons, and they would give me their pre-broke-in shoes. Yes, it developed a condition. It really did. Well, anyway, back to these new shoes. Man, they were a pair of low-top leather, all white, with a slight cool gray swoosh on it, I think it was, Nikes. You couldn't tell me anything, man. I was so ecstatic about it because I finally had my own shoes that hadn't been worn by anybody else, and they were name brand. But let me not fail to mention this. They too were incredibly uncomfortable. But you know what? I will settle for that discomfort along with having name brand kicks. This developed an issue because now I became attracted, well, I'll say borderline addicted to name brand shoes. Of course, still growing up poor, couldn't afford to have the greatest, latest shoes. So there still were some challenges. But I tell you what, I did not miss at all kids finding names for my shoes because they didn't have names. Nor did I get to experience that whole thing again where some kid approaches me, yo, you got on my brother's shoes. Wow. So that is definitely how I began my journey on this whole wearing uncomfortable shoes, even into being an adult. I probably was 30 years old before I even realized, oh, shoes can be comfortable. Yes, indeed, they can be comfortable. And I want to share a few tips with you guys that I've learned here recently. In the past, I don't know, I say recent, but maybe 5-6 years ago now. Tips with you about how you too can be comfortable in your shoes. And the first thing you want to really know is your own feet. Know your feet. Do you have wide feet? Do you have narrow feet? Do you have feet with high arches, flat feet? Do you pronate, mean overpronate, underpronate? Does your foot roll to the inside or outside when you walk or run? Those things will determine how your shoes wear down, and also actually be what will cause your shoes to become comfortable or uncomfortable. So knowing that about your feet, you definitely want to match up the right shoe for your foot. After knowing your foot, I would definitely suggest you doing some research, and guess what? Know your shoes. There are different brands out of here, models. In this sneaker game, there's so many different shoes, and it's easy to fall into the hype because everybody's out here talking about the latest and the greatest is this. Hyper beasts go all out. The market has changed dramatically from buying shoes in the grocery store to now you can buy them on apps, online, at different sneaker con events. There's so many different ways to get shoes now. However, if you don't break the mentality that started the whole thing as far as, well, you know what, the shoes will get comfortable once they break in, you're going to continue to set yourself up. But you can get a head start on comfort if you actually get a head start on the knowledge of shoes that are out here. So when I say know your shoes, know your shoe brands, that's the smallest portion. But what you should know is the type of shoes that you're wearing. Is it a running shoe, basketball shoe? Is it a lifestyle shoe? Is it for tennis? Whatever it could be. And what technologies does that shoe actually implement to help that shoe be whatever it is it's supposed to be? And how will that adapt to your way of using it or your lifestyle? So for most of us, shoes look good and we like how a shoe look. Let me warn you, do not buy shoes based on the look alone. That will also create a lot of discomfort in your life. Let me share something with you because I'm about to be contradictory to my own sermon. This shoe right here, you probably recognize it if you're a sneakerhead. This is a Jordan 6. The original colorway that I love the most came out in my senior year of high school. It was black in the infrared colorway, excuse me. And I always wanted those shoes. I have still yet to grab that particular colorway. However, I've had 3 pairs of the same model in different colorways, and this is the one that I actually have currently. Let me tell you about this shoe. I really love this silhouette. I love this design. Tinker, hats off to you because I think you really killed this. However, this shoe is not comfortable at all. In my opinion, it is horrible. It's not too tight. It's not too big. It is just incredibly hard. I feel like I have on a sandal made of bricks, and it's just not a good shoe. Standing, walking, riding, you name it, it's horrible. However, I promise you, in the future, I probably will grab maybe 2 pairs of this shoe in the infrared black colorway. I just will. But let me say why I tell you that. Because I know what to expect in that shoe. That shoe's not going to catch me off guard. It's not going to catch me by surprise. And I'll be honest with you, I've had that shoe 5 years and probably worn it less than 20 times. Seriously. As you can see, I have worn it. I have worn it. It is so infrequently though, because it's just a horrible shoe as far as comfort to me. Now, the difference in me and you may be this, and it may not be this. That is literally my only uncomfortable shoe, sneaker, you name it. I wear this shoe because I am really a fan of the design. I'm a fan of that shoe. I like that shoe. However, do not make your entire shoe collection comprised of shoes that fit like that or experience that. So that's why I say know your shoes. Now, after you get to know your shoes, understand the different technologies, what kind of things in the shoe may benefit you or not benefit you. Like, for example, does the shoe run wide? Does it run narrow? Does it run small? Does it run true to size? Nike Huaraches are a very, very comfortable shoe. They have a very comfortable walk and ride with them. However, they are incredibly snug. So even if I grab a size 15 in those shoes, it feels more like a 13, which leads me on to my next tip. Know your sizes. Yes, I put emphasis on sizes because I want you to understand I'm speaking about plural. Why? Because every shoe is not exactly the same. They're not cut the same, they're not designed the same, and they may not be matching up with shoes that are very comfortable in that particular size that you wear. For example, let's say that you have a Nike in a size 14. You may go to Adidas and find out their 14 is not equivalent to the 14 of a Nike, the 15 of a Nike, whatever, you know, you get the point I'm saying. So you want to know that actually the shape of your shoe can determine a lot of things also. So a lot of the older Nike, the 90s models, they have a narrow toe. They kind of come to a point on a lot of them, the 95s, 97s, even the OG ones, the original Air Max 1s, they have a point. And if you have a wide foot, they can become very uncomfortable. They look good, but they're not necessarily that comfortable. So you may want to try on different sizes. If you have a shoe that you really like, don't be afraid to wear it in a larger size. Hey, you're 400 pounds, looking like you got a size 8 foot, it doesn't look right anyway. So who cares if they say your foot look like a ship? You're a big man. Embrace that, bruh. I wear 15. I have no problems with it whatsoever. So, knowing your sizes, because what may be this particular size in that running shoe may not need, you may not need that much space or sizing in a basketball shoe, different things like that. So don't get locked into thinking, oh, it's got to be a 15, it's got to be a 14, it's got to be a 13. Experiment, see what it is. Let me also share this with you. If it does not fit well when you try it on, don't put yourself in a predicament where, okay, you're waiting at the experiment of your comfort for your feet for it to fit, man. Buy it, make sure it fits then, and if it doesn't, abort that mission. Which leads me on to the very last tip for you. And this one is really one that I think we all have overlooked at some point in time, and we need to avoid doing this going forward. Listen to your feet. Stop ignoring your feet, man. Stop ignoring your feet telling you this is not the right shoe. They're tired, they hurt. Don't do that because you're not going to break the cycle of being an uncomfortable dude in some uncomfortable shoes. If you have corns, you have calluses, bunions, and things like that, stop torturing those pressure points on your foot with shoes that don't fit adequately. Match up your shoes to the comfort of your feet. Listen to what your feet are telling you. If you step in a pair of shoes and they're amazing and there's some kind of, but I don't like where this fits on this part of the shoe. Maybe there's a strap on the top of the foot and you feel that like, what can I do to avoid that? Because I really, really like these shoes. It may be a situation when you go up a size. Maybe you go out a width. It's just a different, you know, a number of different things. So listen to your feet, man. If you listen to your feet, they will support you for a long time, and longevity should always be your focus. That is it for this video today. Thank you for watching. I pray that you and your family are safe. Please stay comfortable, man. And until next time, God bless.